Cougs and the Pros, after a little hiatus, which we can get to, we are back because there was a lot of stuff that happened with BYU and the NFL this past week. A lot of it not so great, but there were some notable performances as well. Kyle, glad to be back with you. First off, explain the hiatus to our friends in the podcast universe.
Yeah, I apologize. I traveled to the BYU East Carolina game a few weeks ago. I caught some bug like day of the game, day after the game. I flew home all the way across the country from North Carolina, and I was dead that whole next week, and have kind of slowly been recovering from whatever illness
And
that
I've
was.
been sick too. So when you were like, let's take a break, I was like, I probably sound like a zombie, so maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah, I was surprised because like I traveled to Colorado, still didn't feel awesome. The West Virginia game happens, I still didn't feel awesome. Then I'm like, man, maybe my immune system is just shot, Matt. But went to the Arizona game in Tucson this last weekend, and I was like, oh, I actually feel okay. Like I'm surviving. Still have a little bit of a cough, but it's manageable, and as long as I can keep the energy up, that's the main thing. So sorry that we took a timeout on the pod the last few weeks. We missed some big performances by Puka Nacua. I have to shout that out because his first month of the season was unbelievable. Just historic numbers from Puka, and we've talked about it a lot already. He's amazing. If he's not the best wide receiver in the NFL, he is statistically in a lot of ways, but like it's him, Justin Jefferson. I mean, like there's only very few number that you could even put in that category with Puka.
Jamar Chase, you'd probably throw in there, but yeah,
Yeah.
there is a handful of guys, and Puka's in that group. Unlike us, we recovered. It took a little longer than we wanted, but we recovered. Fred Warner will not be recovering as fast as us. We should start by expressing our condolences to Fred on a devastating injury. I do think he will recover from it for next season. Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers coach, was quick to point out that it is a season ending injury. I didn't have the stomach to watch the replay on X, and the first I saw of it was Adam Schefter's tweet, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, what is it? You go and you look for the video, and then people were saying it was really bad, so I didn't watch it. From what I've read from other people, his foot was pointing the wrong direction. Did you see the injury?
I saw the wide shot of it, but I didn't see any zoomed in. I also didn't want to look for it either because my brother texted me. He said, "Did you see Fred's injury?" And I was traveling back from Tucson, and so I was like, "No, I haven't." And he's like, "Don't go look at it. It was nasty." And so I kind of left it at that point. I just later on X, just scrolling, happened to see a video of him getting carted off and a wide shot of the tackle and whatnot. But yeah, nasty. Like it sucks because Fred, he might he might be the best player in the NFL, Matt. Like, I don't think that's like this crazy take. He's outstanding.
I
And
mean, I think you'd probably still put Josh Allen ahead of him,
I
but
don't know. Like, I don't know this year. Like, because if you're giving out like the MVP award, it's always going to go like to an offensive guy. And even this year, like Baker Mayfield, like I think is better this season than Josh Allen has played. And Josh is great, but like he loses again tonight. They're 4-2 now in Buffalo. And Fred is really the thing about Fred that sucks is like he's the heart and soul of that 49ers team too. So it's like he's the emotional leader. That 49er team also has just like been decimated by injuries the last few weeks. But Fred, like he's been playing at an all pro level for a number of years now, and he's in the heart of his prime. And to have an injury like this where it takes him out for, you know, he's only played a month of the season so far, right? Like a month and a half. And so it's terrible because you still have the rest of October, November, December, and then the postseason in January and February, And I'm not saying that the 49ers were going to like go on some crazy run or anything. They have a lot of issues, but Fred, without him, like I texted one of my buddies who's a big 49ers fan yesterday, and I was like, season's over, man. Like, season's over. Like, that's
yeah.
what Fred Warner means to them. And it just sucks on a personal level because Fred's such a good dude. And, luckily, I will say this. It was a dislocated and broken ankle situation as opposed to him, like, tearing up his entire knee like Taysom Hill did or something like that because those injuries seem to be harder to come back from. So dislocation break. Hopefully everything goes well with the surgery, but still just nasty enough that you have to miss the season. Sucks.
I think the silver lining here is whenever I think of BOU guys and injuries, I do think of Austin Collie. And the reason I bring that up is Austin Collie that year in Indianapolis, you know this well as a Colts fan, was having a career year, gets the concussion. That was a contract year for Austin Collie. He never got paid. And so I think the thing that um, I'm happy for Fred is that he has been well compensated. If this is an injury that takes him down a level to where he's no longer the league's best defensive player, he got paid. And I, I always think of Austin Collie because
Yeah.
on the flip side of Austin, Dennis Pitta did get paid, right? And then he had the dislocated hip, and then his career went down. But thank goodness he got paid. You never know how you're going to recover. Fred has been in the league longer than you'd think. He was drafted in 2018, and he's missed one game his entire career up to this point. So he's played a lot of football. I think the other thing that makes me sad for Fred is just knowing one, at that age and that mileage, you don't know how you're going to bounce back from a devastating injury. If anyone can regain that peak, it's Fred. Fred is he's a freak work. He's got a great work ethic. He's got a great family life situation. He's a pro's pro. I think he can bounce back. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying I'm glad he's got paid. Number one. The other thing that makes me sad for Fred is I just don't think it's going to happen in San Francisco, and it makes me sad because they were so close. If Dre Greenlaw does not tear his Achilles in that Super Bowl, I think maybe we're talking about him having a Super Bowl. And if he had a Super Bowl and he gotten paid, injury still sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't suck. It's a horrible injury, but he climbed the mountain in terms of Super Bowl and he got paid. And now I'm just looking at that 49er team and is he going to be good enough for long enough for them to recover, especially with what they're paying Brock Purdy? So it's just a bummer, but I guess lastly, Kyle, if there is another silver lining to it, it's San Francisco is clearly not competing for a Super Bowl this year. So it's not like they were the league's best team and then it all sort of fell apart. Like to your point, San Francisco's got a lot of problems. Fred was not one of those problems, but they are not the caliber of team that they were. Was it? Has it been 2 years already since they went to the Super
Yeah.
Bowl against the Chiefs? So they're nowhere near that. And so
Yeah.
he's not losing a year in terms of a Super Bowl contending situation.
Yeah, it's sucky because the fact that Fred's not early in his career, he's not late in his career where it's like even like Taysom last year, we talked about this like in preseason whether or not like we expected even the Saints maybe like looking at that as like a potential cut with
Yep.
Taysom and just like his age, the injury was bad. He's had injury history. Like Fred's been healthy and he's in his prime. Like this is when you don't want to have the injuries because you're playing your best football and
Yep.
hopefully he does.
You
Hopefully he
just
does
never know
bounce
if you're going to
back.
bounce back from something like this.
Yep, well said. But yeah, no, I think that you're right. Spot on. If anybody can do it, it's Fred. And other than his rookie year, where it kind of like it broke his way with some of the injuries in front of him and at linebacker that gave him the opportunity to really become Fred Warner in the NFL. I just he's been outstanding every year since 2019 or what is it 2018. 2018
Yep.
was that second year and he or 2019 whatever it was. He's been playing at an all pro
Right.
level and he's just been one
Was
of those
2018 his
guys.
rookie year though? Because 2017 he played with BYU. It's hard to remember that he
Yeah,
was a part of one of the worst years in BYU football in a long time. He was a senior that year in 17, wasn't he?
is isn't I believe so. That sounds right. We'd have to look
I'm
it up
pretty
to
sure
make
he
sure.
was. I remember him getting fed to the media quite a bit because he was he was good with the media, and he was a senior. So I'm willing to bet my life that Fred Warner was on the 2017 football team.
Yeah, 2018 was his rookie year. So 2019 was that first year that I was thinking of. But you think about it, he's been an All Pro 4 times now in his career, four-time Pro Bowl selection. Like there there's a Hall of Fame resume already for Fred Warner. 2 Super Bowl appearances. Like he's just been outstanding. And it's almost like the way that he's been playing. Like there's a conversation where he's like defensive player of the year kind of candidate.
Yep.
So I hope that he can bounce back to that level because he's so fun to watch. He really is.
Yes.
Like it's the same kind of way that I don't know. It's not apples to apples, but it kind of reminds me the way that he is in the 49ers defense, where he just is kind of like he can roam and do his thing. It's kind of like when Kyle Van Noy was an outstanding linebacker for BYU, where he could just like go out and be like he didn't like necessarily fit into this box of you know outside linebacker, inside linebacker, whatever. Like it wasn't like you were like, oh, you're just playing in this like set role here as an outside linebacker. Like he was roaming around a bunch and I think that, it's just fun to see when you guys have that talent level where you can just kind of let them go out and be playmakers like Fred is. That makes football way more fun to watch and obviously it helps your team have success too.
Yeah, good point. Also on the injury front, Puka got an update today from Sean McVay. He said Puka's day to day. However, Ian Rappaport reported that he's going to miss some time. And his reasoning was next week they play Jacksonville, then they have a bye. So you've got a chance to buy him 2 weeks, really 3 weeks before he plays again. I hope he only misses one game because he's putting together. I mean, missing any amount of time probably takes him out of the Triple Crown race, but he was putting together, as to your point, an historic year. Like he was on pace for what 150 catches. Like it would have been crazy. So he is a tough son of a gun. He comes back in that game and plays on a sprained ankle because I mean he needed to be helped off the field, but I hate seeing injuries to these great BYU players because it just feels like the last couple years you've had moments of guys breaking through and then injury. And I hope that doesn't become a thing and a theme for BYU in the NFL. I want these guys to stay healthy and to be household names. And Puka's a household name. This isn't going to change that, but that was a bit of a scare, Puka with the ankle injury.
Yeah, I think if you look at their schedule, Matt, that Jacksonville game is in London next week and
Oh
so
yeah, don't
I
travel.
wonder how I wonder how much that plays into it just with the overseas travel. And then the following week after that, they play the Saints who are just
Oh, so they don't have a
garbage.
bye after that.
Oh, they do have a bye. Sorry, they do have a bye,
Okay,
and then they play
so
this.
London
Then they
bye,
play
then
the
they got
Saints.
the Saints.
So it's like you really have 3 weeks there that he could take off because you're going to win the Saints game if you're the Rams. Like you're looking at that as a win. You don't play him because it's the London game. You give him the week off with the bye, and then you play on November 9th. They play at the 49ers. And who knows? Maybe you give him that week off too because the following week after that they play the Seahawks, and that's going to be a game where you care. You care about that one.
Yeah,
Obviously, the 49er one is a big one because it's a divisional game, but there is time there for Puka to heal up over the next month.
yeah, good point. All right, that's enough negativity on the injuries. Let's get the stock up, stock down. You can start, man. I'll give you the floor. Let's see where you go with this. Stock up. Let's go.
I've got to go Taysom Hill. It's the obvious choice for my stock up this week, Matt, because it was nice to see Taysom get back on the field. He's healthy, and then he looked like Taysom from the past 5, 6, 7 years, like running the ball. I the only thing that just every time I watch Taysom, man, especially when the Saints just have, I don't know, I don't think Rattler's like the worst quarterback in the NFL starting right now, but he's bottom five, bottom
Yeah,
six, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean, he's not a top 15 quarterback. They're not going to win with him. It's not a long term solution at all. And I always think about like what could have been with Taysom Hill if they would have just everything that
they
Sean
should have
Payton
never
said.
picked Jameis that year.
Agreed.
There was no upside to Jameis.
I think the locker room dynamic played a big role in that, and the timing of that season, just everything that was going on with the Saints, the NFL. I just think that Taysom was kind of in a no win situation there. Um, if it was right now and Sean Payton was still there and it was that point in Taysom's career, age wise and everything, I think it would be different. I think honestly it would have played out a little differently. I think they would have given it. I mean, it's crazy because I believe his record as a starting quarterback for the Saints is like 7-2. It's
It's a
not. It's
winning
not
record.
like he's not a losing quarterback. And I mean, Spencer Rattler is 1-5 to start this year. So I mean, which one would you rather have? 7-2, 1-5. Not saying that Taysom Hill would like be 7-2 or 6-1 or whatever right now with them, or 5-1 with them at this current moment. But it's just it's always going to be a what if for me. I know that you and I
And
are just we're Taysom
we're in
diehards,
lockstep
and
on this. In
it just
lockstep.
it just sucks, man. It sucks that like in the alternate universe, I believe Taysom Hill is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I really do. I think he's
Yep.
talented enough. He doesn't throw the
I
best
think he would
ball.
have been good. I don't think he would have been in the same conversation as the elite tier. I don't think
No,
we would be
sure.
talking about him as a Josh or a Jaden Daniels, but could he have been? You look at some of the quarterbacks in the NFC that have made deep runs. Could he be on? I know he's a different player, but
Yeah.
could he have been on a Brock Purdy level in that 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 range? I think he could have been.
I mean, I don't know. If you're wanting to go off of like let's just say you're going off of like the top 15 right now. Like I'm just looking at offensive leaders for this. I just pulled it up. So 15 right now this season as far as passing yards. You've got Josh Allen right there. Spencer Rattler also tied for 15th, which is hilarious in this argument. Um, but ahead of him, you've got Mac Jones. I'm sorry, Taysom Hill would be a better quarterback than Mac Jones.
Yeah,
I will believe that forever. Geno Smith had a nice year a couple
he's
years
better
ago
than
in
Geno. I
Seattle,
think
but I
I
think
think
he's better than Geno.
Taysom at his peak in with the offense invested in him, I think he would have been more effective than Geno Smith.
Yeah, I think that those are the only two guys out of the top 15 that I would say he would be better than. Below that, you've got Tua. Man,
He's,
Tua's had moments, but he's always hurt.
yep.
Bryce Young, I don't know,
Better.
man. Cam Ward, he's better than Cam Ward. CJ Stroud has looked terrible since his rookie year.
Right.
Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers isn't good anymore. Caleb Williams, Michael Penix Jr., Justin Fields. Justin Fields. Did you see that game? How bad their
No,
passing offense was for New York the other
no,
day?
I saw the stats.
I can't believe Zach Wilson lost him that game. Can't believe he lost him that game. Did you know that he did that for the New York Jets? Matt, come
You
on.
might be wishing for
Sheesh.
some of Zach Wilson's stats after that game in London.
Yeah. No, I think Taysom Hill would have been he would have been like a quarterback between like 18 and 24 in like the hierarchy of the
I think the
NFL.
point on Taysom to me is he could have been good enough with the right offense built around him and a good defense to be a playoff quarterback. And when you get to the playoffs, anything can
Yep.
happen in the NFL. So, yeah, I'm with you. I was going to pick Taysom as well. I have a backup pick, but I just want to point out it's barely October. It's been less than 10 months since Taysom Hill tore his knee at 34 years old.
Yeah.
How does he do it? This guy is he a Greek god? How is he coming back from this injury at this stage of his career with his age and he looks the same? How? How does he do it?
Honestly, I'm surprised that he's had the NFL career that he's had after and even the last year at BYU.
Was Gronk in the NFL?
It was
He
yeah.
had the arm injury. He had blew his knee out last year. How does he keep coming back like it's never happened? Like
He has an amazing ability to heal. And that eventually slows down for everybody, but so
except for
far
him,
he's a
it's
mid 30
amazing.
guy who feels like he's mid 20s guy.
It's amazing. I wish the Saints. I wish the Saints would do him the solid of trading him. He's not going to ask for it. He's too professional. I wish they would just tell him, "We suck, Taysom. And we're not going to be good next year either. We want to do you right, and we're trading you for a 6th-round pick and send him to a contender because he's not going to be a starting quarterback in the league. He's not."
What team would you want to send him to? Let's not include the Broncos in this because the Sean Payton answer is the easiest one.
Okay, well,
If you're not
makes
going
sense
Broncos,
already.
where does he go?
I am wanting. I have three. I have three destinations off
I
the
love
top of
this because
my
you've
head.
clearly thought about it. You
Yes,
have
I
three.
have three destinations off the top of my head where I think that he would make an impact and help these teams compete. Number one to me, without a doubt, is the Kansas City Chiefs. I just feel like Could they use a gadget player? Travis Kelce is old. They've got no other viable tight ends. None.
Yeah.
No one on that depth chart would see a snap anywhere else in the league. Like, no disrespect to Noah Gray, but he's no good. You can't tell me you don't plug Taysom in with that creativity, with that coach, and with that offense, and you can't get 15 high quality snaps.
He probably runs the ball at the goal line more for the Chiefs than Hunt or Pacheco does, if
I
that's the
think he
scenario.
would be a perfect fit there.
Yeah.
Perfect fit. Number two, keeping it in the AFC, Buffalo Bills, man. Could you imagine him with Josh Allen and the things you could do with those two dudes in a, maybe Taysom's lead blocking for Josh, or they're running an option. It's just the possibilities are endless with those two dudes. I think he would be a nice fit in Buffalo. They've got much better tight ends than the Chiefs do, but could he still have a role there? I think so. 100%, I think so. And then to throw in an NFC team, you've already sort of mentioned it, but Tampa Bay. I know that they probably wouldn't do in division type trades here. Probably not something that would be wise for the Saints, but they don't also have, in my opinion, any great tight ends. They have great receivers. They have really good running back depth, but could Taysom be a nice option in some, gimmick type plays? I just think, and honestly, you can make a case for even more teams. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on teams that I've left out, but he can fit anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Josh Allen scenario is like just visually that would be like really funny to watch. The NFL wouldn't know what to do. Like they'd be like, "What is this? What is this?" Josh Allen pitches it to Taysom Hill on the edge. They wouldn't know what to do. I think about the Eagles. That's one that I could see
No,
maybe
no,
being a
keep them
situation.
away from that. That offense, they are done.
No,
They're put a fork in the Eagles, dude. It's over. It's
that was
like
a
the
bad.
Sopranos.
That
It's
was a bad.
over.
That was a bad loss. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, they're 4-2 still. Like, they're they're not as
No,
good as they were a
don't
season
wish
ago.
that on him. That locker room's a mess. They can't even get their skill players the ball. Don't keep the Eagles out of this.
All right, here's one for you then. I'm gonna go Chargers, AFC team. They lost Hampton, their rookie running back. He's on IR right now. Jim Harbaugh, and the creativity that he
I
could do with a
Chargers
former
is a nice
quarterback
pick.
mindset. I
That's
think
a
Chargers would be a
nice
nice
pick.
one.
Chargers would be nice. And then I know you said keep him off the list, but Denver would be
Nope,
nice.
no,
Denver would be nice.
I don't like it. Sean Payton had his chance. He had his chance to do something with the Taysom. I'm writing it off. Sean Payton, you're
Okay,
dead to me. You're dead to me.
there. But in this gadget role, it would be a nice fit in Denver.
No,
Let's be
that's true.
real. It's almost like he's the missing piece for that offense. Just a little, change of pace. So they probably won't, but I just wish that they would do right by Taysom and just say, dude, we know you're at the end. Where do you want to go? Because any of those teams would give up a 6 round pick for him. Don't you think?
I don't know if a sixth would go. Maybe a seventh.
A sixth?
Maybe. Dude, draft picks, man, they're valuable. They are. I don't know if Taysom at his age gets a sixth, man. Seventh. I'm gonna say seventh.
Stock down. I'm starting.
Okay.
Kyle Van Noy. Has he hit the wall? I know that he's been banged up in Baltimore, but last year he was so impactful. He still looked like a high level contributor to a good defense. I just haven't seen that this year. I haven't seen Van Noy being as impactful. Maybe it's just injuries, but he's an older player, and I just wonder with Kyle is did Father Time get him? I hope not, but I was expecting a repeat performance of last year, and I feel like he's been mostly a non-factor this season.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at teams that had expectations and then have underperformed, Ravens are number one at the top of that list. they're 1-5 after your
San Francisco's second.
Rams beat them, and then San Francisco has to be second. Um, just based off of the injury situation, but I mean, like I honestly thought the Ravens were gonna be one of those teams that was going to be super scary this year. I thought they were going to take their game up a notch from what they were a season ago because they, in a lot of ways, they should have beat the Chiefs last year in the playoffs. They should have. Like, that was their moment, and it clearly might be slipping away. Like, that's the thing about this earlier conversation with San Francisco and now with Kyle Van Noy and the Ravens. Like, the NFL is so unforgiving, and the windows are actually so much smaller than you think. That's what makes the Chiefs run so impressive, the Patriots and their two dynasties or whatever with Tom Brady or even his whole career. Like, just the fact that they were able to be at that successful level for as long as they were, like, it's insane because you think that a team looks awesome on paper going into September, and then 3 weeks go by and it completely flips upside down on you. So yeah, Kyle, that's a good pick. I don't know, maybe there's a chance for it to bounce back. A lot of people thought it was over for him 2 years ago, and then he bounced back last year. So
True.
maybe it finally has caught up to him. I mean, Father Time is undefeated, as they say. So, stock down. I am going to go with an interesting pick here. I'm going to go with Zane Anderson,
Okay.
Green Bay Packers. The one thing I will say about Zane, I'm impressed that he's held
Amazing
on.
he's still in the league. Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing that he's still on. It's at the level now where Green Bay, they're not off to this hot start like they were. They're kind of fizzling a little bit, I feel like, at least. And Zane's one of those guys where I'm just like, I could see him being at the end of the roster where there's just like 1 week, it's just like, we don't need you. Like, you're not providing us enough oomph here in what we're allowing. Like, we'll waive you, we'll cut you so that way we can go grab, I don't know. Let's say they have an injury to one of their, I don't know, tackles or running back or wide receiver or something like that. A position of more impact, I guess is what I would say. One of those star positions. And then say, hey, like, we just need a guy for a week or two. Like, Zane's at that spot where I'm just like, it's amazing that he's been in the league as long as he has, but just hasn't popped. Like, it hasn't shown where it's like, oh wow, like Zane, I was hoping would have a Daniel Sorensen type of career hanging on. Like, kind of surprising that he came out of BYU and stuck on an NFL roster, in my opinion, at least with Dirty Dan. And I think that, like, Zane's that kind of level, but he just never rose to like where he was making these impact plays like Sorensen did.
Yeah. I honestly haven't even thought of Zane Anderson much at all this year, so that's a good point. But hey, he had a nice long run. I think he's probably been in the league long enough to have some
I think
tenure.
I think it's 4 years, right? Or is it 3? I think it's 3 or 4 years,
I think it's
something like that.
But he's definitely made that. So
yeah, which is also impressive because of his injury history at BYU. Like,
yep.
the talent was there. He just it never went fully right for him. I feel like even his last year at BYU, like, he was good, but it just like never fully clicked, I guess.
Yep. All right, let's just look at next week quick, and then we'll wrap it up. We went a little long today. That's all right. We had to make up for us some lost weeks.
And it's always good to talk Fred. It's always good to talk Taysom now that he's back on the radar.
Yep, I love that. Thursday game, kind of lame. Steelers Bengals. That does feature BYU guy Ryan Rico, but that's not the game I care about the most. It is an interesting week of games. I would have to say for me though, for a BYU perspective, gosh, there's not a lot of great games. If I'm looking at the schedule, there's not a lot of great games. I'll probably say I'll go with the Chiefs Raiders.
Okay.
I think the Chiefs offense is coming alive. The fact that we didn't come on here and rip Kingsley Suamataia is a good sign. That means that,
he's played better since those first couple weeks.
Yeah.
You were ready to write him off. You're like, I'm done. I'm done.
Off, man. It did not look good to start, but Chiefs are sort of coming out of hibernation, and now they get Rashee Rice back. Like, could they be could they be ascending towards another Super Bowl run? Like, if defensively they're good,
Yeah.
offensively there was no sign of explosive plays until the last 2 weeks, and now you bring back Rashee Rice.
It feels like Mahomes has his mojo back though, right? Like that tandem between him and Andy Reid. Like Mahomes hadn't had 4 passing touchdowns since like 2023, I think it was. It's been 2 seasons, and now it's been a couple of times this year where he's hit that mark.
Yeah, so that's the game. I want to see if they can keep doing it. They're adding some talent. Knock on wood, there's no post game brawls like there were against the Lions, but I'll go Chiefs Raiders.
I'm going to go Sunday Night Football. The Falcons at the
Dun, dun, dun,
49ers. And the
dun.
only reason why I say that is because I got to give a little shout out here. Didn't go stock up on him, but Tyler Algier had a nice touchdown on Monday Night Football this week. It did go back to our conversation, I don't know, a month ago or whatever it's been now, Matt, where we talked about that dynamic between him and Bijan Robinson. He's still not getting as many carries, obviously, and I wouldn't expect that, but like he had 10 carries tonight. It's just like he's not getting the yards
I was just going to say,
per carry that
he
I
had that
want.
nice 20-yard touchdown run, which was vintage
Yeah,
Algier, but then he had 9 carries for 12 yards after
it's
that.
just like
That's
can't
not good.
it doesn't do it. You got to be 3 yards a pop at least.
Yep,
So,
totally.
but I do think that one's a nice one for the Falcons because if they can win that game, they're all of a sudden they're 4-2, and it seems like maybe the Penix, Bijan, Algier. I don't know. I won't say Kyle Pitts because he's still Kyle Pitts, but like I mean they have some pieces there in Atlanta, and maybe
Drake
like
London.
they're turning the corner. So
Yeah, good stuff.
I do
All
have
right.
one thing before we wrap up, Matt.
Okay.
We're at the midway point of this BYU season. Just real quickly, give me your thoughts on BYU as a whole. It's rivalry week this week with Utah. You've got obviously huge implications on that game. What have you thought of Bear Bachmeyer so far this season? Just kind of like all encompassing, like, what are your thoughts on BYU through a month and a half?
It has been surprising to me that they're 6-0. I think this team, maybe more so than any other team, has played great complementary football. Like, they really do have moments of brilliance in every phase of the game. I think their special teams is elite. Even though Will Ferrens had a little dip of late, they are consistently getting chunk punt returns. They are not turning the ball over on special teams. And then I think an underrated part of the game is their punt coverage and their kick coverage has been really excellent. So their special teams has been great. Defensively, I've been really impressed, but I think we did see that in the Arizona game, the value of your top players, I think we maybe undersold the depth, or oversold the depth a little bit. You missed three of your five best players in that game defensively. Jack Kelly, I mean, he's invaluable after what we saw in that Arizona game. There was nobody that could do what he did. Tanavasa leaving. I know that some fans have been, where's the Utah Tanavasa? Maybe his role's different in this defense. Maybe he is more of a run stuffing D tackle, and he wasn't as much of that at Utah.
I think
His
Keanu's actually, just real quick on Keanu, like, I think he's actually played really well this season. He's had moments, and, like, obviously, you can't have the penalties that he's had the last 2 weeks. Like, those, that West Virginia one was even worse than this targeting one, in my opinion, because he's just late hit. Like, that one's just pure stupidity. Like,
yep.
Noah Fafita's like a foot smaller than him. So, like, that one I can, like, at least kind of
Yeah, the
understand.
Noah Fafita one didn't bother me at all. That was just a
Yeah.
big. I don't even think it was targeting. I know that there was helmet to helmet, but I didn't think it was crown. I didn't think he launched. Anyways, we
Yeah.
can go on and
Fair.
on about that. But you lose Raider to Mooney. He's been a
Yep.
lot better than I think people expected. So I think this defense has been really good. Uh, I think they've been a top four defense in the Big 12. I just am worried about the health of some of the top players because the depth, it's just not. I think the depth is there, but it's very clearly not anywhere near your best players that have NFL potential. And then to your question on Bear's been really impressive. I do think his Arizona performance was his worst performance. Uh, and I say that knowing he came up huge at the end of the game, leading two scoring drives and then leading the team to victory in overtime. But I think he was not very accurate in that game. I thought he made some bad decisions in that game. And then he's lucky that Kyle Safaricic, I think I said that
Safari
wrong.
choke.
Safaricuk.
Choke.
If he doesn't jump on that ball,
Yeah.
I think we're out of it. So, with that being said, I do think it is a positive that you find a way to win a game in which your quarterback did not play very well. And I also think it is an endorsement of Bear that despite playing poor and making bad decisions, when it mattered, he came up clutch. And I think
Agreed.
it's really impressive for a freshman quarterback. So I still don't know if they have what it takes to get to the Big 12 championship game. I think we'll be able to answer that question in a much more resounding fashion after the Utah game. But it's been a fun year. I think this year could have went a lot different with the drama at quarterback and losing Jake and having a true freshman. For them to be 6-0 and they overcome the slow start at Colorado. They overcome the 10-point deficit in the fourth against Arizona. It's been pretty impressive. So this is, I think, more than anything. Here's my last thought on BYU this year. Barring a complete collapse, which I do not believe will happen, I think this team is good enough to at least win 2 of their next 6 games, and maybe more. But let's just say, worst case scenario, they finish 8-4. If you go 8-4, you've kept the train on the tracks, baby. The momentum is still there. The recruiting momentum is still there. Your program is still in an upward trajectory. That's a big win when you had very little certainty at quarterback. So I'm excited for the rest of the year.
I think if they're 8-4 and they win next week against Utah, if that's one of their 2 wins, I think BYU fans will be okay.
More than
Be-
okay.
because
More than okay.
that win becomes that win's bigger than one win. You
For
know,
sure.
if they win that game, you can be like, okay, like that's almost like a 9-10
I
win
don't
kind
think
of
any
feeling
sane
season.
BYU fan is expecting a berth to the Big 12 championship game. Even at 6-0, I
Yeah.
think if you polled any BYU fan, they would say, we're having a good year. This has been a lot of fun, but I'm not ready to say we're good enough to go to the Big 12 title game. They
Yeah,
could end up there. They have a chance to get there, but to your point, you go 8-4 and beat Utah. I think everyone is pretty happy with that season, considering you had a true freshman quarterback.
no, for sure. I mean, like you've got Utah at Iowa State, Texas Tech on the road, Cincinnati on the road. I mean, like those games right there are tough. UCF, like you've got.
No,
It's,
don't put UCF in the mix.
no,
That's
no,
not
no. I'm just saying, like, what I was gonna say is UCF is like the one where you can be like, okay, like there's your one. Where's your other? Like, you've got you've got
right.
games here that are going to be really, really difficult. And so you mentioned the Utah one, like that one is a good barometer in a lot of ways, but like that Texas
If
Tech game
they
is going to be
are able to beat Utah this week, I think you can actually start to entertain the Big 12 championship game legitimately.
I agree.
Now things would have to break their way. They would still need to get, whether it's Iowa State or Cincinnati, they'd need to get a big road win. I'm not going to, Texas Tech would be
Sure.
unbelievable, but that seems almost impossible at this point. But you beat Utah, you can start to shift your expectations a little bit, kind of like last year. They beat Utah, and then it suddenly became, okay, can we get to the Big 12 championship game? Then in that Kansas game, it all sort of fell apart. But
Sure.
if you're able to beat Utah, Utah's not a bad team. Utah, it's going to be a challenging game. If you're able to overcome that challenge, then I think we can have a much different conversation about this team being competitive in some of these hard games coming up.
I'll tell you what, despite Bears' moxie, you can't complete 41% of your passes and throw 2 picks and try and beat Utah. Like, it's just not going to happen.
What
It's just
happened
not
in
going to happen.
Arizona, well, that will not result in a win. Even at
Yeah.
home, that's not going to do it. Again, I do love his, in key moments, he's come up big. At
Sure.
Colorado, he came up big. I felt like even in East Carolina, there were some moments there where you're like, I thought Bear made some plays, but yeah, you can't. That was to me, that Arizona game was the first time I felt like you would look at him and say you're looking at a true freshman quarterback. Now, I
Yeah.
think the hope is you learn from that, and you continue to grow. And I think Bear has gotten better, even in that Arizona game, which I already said this, but I don't think that was his best game by a mile. I thought it was his worst game of the season. Still moments of brilliance, still moments of growth. So
In a
yeah,
win, you'd rather lose. You'd rather learn from those mistakes in a win than a loss. You think
yes,
about the high snap, him picking up the ball. It's like he's gonna know now that his clock doesn't need to be sped up in that situation where it's like he can either like reassess, run, throw the ball away. He doesn't have to force something.
one
And I
hundred
think
percent.
that like those are going to be things that like he hadn't faced that situation before. Now he has. Now I can figure out based off of the film, hey, like I need to do XYZ now. So
Yep.
I completely agree. Great take on that, Matt. I just needed to get your update.
Yes.
I hadn't
Thanks.
got. I know we've texted about it, but I hadn't gotten you on the mic, so I needed to hear it for the people. The people needed to hear it.
Great. I love it. It'll be fun. Shameless plug for me. I'm getting close to my debut of
Nice.
Cougar pregame live. So it's gonna be fun to get back get back in the saddle, so to speak. It's felt kind of weird. You took over for me on Cougar Sports Saturday. I know you're doing a great job. I miss sounding off on my takes all the time, but it'll be good to be back on the air here soon.
Absolutely. Can't wait to hear you on it too.
Kyle, you're such a good friend, man. You're so supportive. I appreciate it. It's fun talking football with you, and glad you guys are having a great time on Cougar Sports Saturday. And it's you got to get me on the show one of these days.
We should. We should get you on the show. We really should. Get your
The week,
takes.
the
Need to
week
have you
that
pop off.
maybe sometime when I'm actually hosting on BYU sports radio. You can have
That way we're not calling a guy in off his couch. Is that what you're saying?
exactly when I'm a working sports personality, then I'll be deserving of making my return.
Sounds good.
All right, dude. Well, that was Cougs in the Pros. So good stuff as always, man. I love the Royal Cougars. Let's keep it rolling. Let's not get sick, so we have to take 2 weeks off, and we'll
I
keep right.
agree.
All right. Well, I guess that'll do it. So for Kyle Ireland and Matt Biamonte, for a Royal Cougs production, this has been Cougs in the Pros. We'll see you next time.